This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we are in Michigan. I'm here with Joelle's Cry for Justice. What began in 1987 has been this author's goal to help people learn to find the positive side of grief while reading her book and seeking peace. I'm joined here with the author, mother, grandmother, Jacqueline. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
I appreciate the time and the interview with Gary Atencio from CNTV Meet the Nation.
Excellent. Let's start off a little bit. First of all, many of us have the luxury of choosing our life's calling and our work here on earth. For others, like yourself, life events choose it for us. Share with us how a day in 1987 really changed your life forever.
First of all, I did not have my children on that day. They were coming home to go to school with their father, and they were crossing the road on a blistery, cold day. It was terrible. Joelle slipped from Keith's fingers and hit by a driver, and it was the most traumatic event in my life. Keith came running across the road to my home and screaming. I came running out in my robe, and she had suffered a cardiac arrest. The EMS was there immediately and took her to the nearest hospital, and my mind just twirled. It was terrible, and she was in a persistent vegetative state for 18 months.
Wow, and therefore, a child on life support, an event most of us hope to never experience. Yet you found out that each state handles this situation differently. As you consulted with others, what did you learn about your state of Michigan there and the decision that you had to make?
First of all, Joelle was the first right to die minor decision was made in Judge Kuhn's chambers in Oakland County. First of all, after careful consideration, her father and I, who is now passed, we thought that Joelle, under the decision rendered by Judge Kuhn, after a 7-day trial, she had a guardian ad litem and a bioethics committee, and we listened to Dr. Kennedy. She was a neurosurgeon at Children's Hospital who is now retired. She told us that Joelle would never recover. And so it was election year, and the prosecutor said we were going to kill our daughter. So that rendered the 7-day trial, but Judge Kuhn said ultimately that the parents had the decision to make. So it was under the informed consent, and the parents had the decision to let Joelle die naturally. So ultimately, Joelle was the first right to die minor case in Michigan.
Wow.
So Joelle was removed August 13th, 1988.
Interesting. She spent 6 months on a respirator in a pediatric intensive care unit. Knowing what you know now, how can extended family and the community help out families that maybe are in similar situations with loved ones?
How parents could understand this condition, first of all, persistent vegetative state, you have to be in over a month. There's a conscious state, which is only a few weeks. Persistent vegetative state is over a month, and there's autonomous condition where the child or the person moves involuntary. They are unaware of their state. So Joelle moved, her hands moved, her hair grew, her eyes opened and closed. It was a sleep-wake state cycle. And it was very, very sad, very, very, very sad. It looked like Joelle was crying, and it was very, very, very sad to make that decision. And I did not make that decision radically.
When you're in a situation like that, How do you think, how is it possible for people outside of the hospital, the community, extended family, how can they help someone going through that, would you say?
How would they help you?
Yes.
They could be quiet and listen to your feelings, your emotions. They could listen by reading up on it about the state that Joelle was in, coming with you to the social workers at the hospital, your pastor, understand your faith, that you're not making a radical decision, knowing that, well, of course the healthcare costs are expensive, but did not play an important part or factor in my decision.
Yeah.
I know that Joelle had died and suffered a cardiac arrest at the accident. I know that she died and went to heaven already. So that played a factor in my decision, that she died already, and most of her cerebral hemorrhage, and she died up here, and that most of her, brainstem was gone. So mostly she wasn't thinking. She couldn't think on her own. It was all autonomous, and I know that
Sure.
Joelle would not want to live like that.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
So I would say to other parents or other people that, would you really want them to live like that? Now, as far as getting into it further, there is no right to die statute in the United States. There's death with dignity laws, and there's 10 states. Now, I particularly don't agree with that. I agree with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, where there's kindness and passing away more naturally, and grief and stages of grief. But everybody has their own opinion, and with the death with dignity, I believe Oregon was the first state. And you have to be cognitive for this, and you have to have physician assisted, but the person takes the pill themselves, I believe, and then they have to have 6 months or less to live. But everybody has their own right, and it's a very controversial subject. But I do believe in advanced directives. Yep. And so forth like that.
I think more awareness people are out there. I think it's better for everyone. When did you make the decision to write a heartfelt account by bringing, pen to paper and sharing the emotions that your family experienced as they navigated really a wrenching decision and the aftermath of that?
I wrote immediately when Joelle was hit. I've been a writer even as a child. I wrote poetry as a child. I love writing. I love expressing myself. I'm very creative. My family's creative in art and music. And it is healing. And little did I know that even Mozart back in 1596 wrote and created and composed to heal himself. And so it's a long research subject that healing brings about healthy immune system. And so I wrote for 25 years to heal myself, and little did I know I was going to write a couple of books, and I'm still writing to create books.
Interesting. I mean, did the writing of your book help you also to understand fully what you had lived through? I mean, as I imagine, much of it was a blur, yet is it still etched clearly in your mind like it was yesterday?
Yes, I wrote to heal myself, and it was tumultuous. Joelle's story is tumultuous. It's the worst thing that could ever have happened, is losing a child. I have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I lost my brother, my mother, my father to a terrible disease at 19. Grief is very painful. It's physical manifestation, and you have to digest it and dissolve it and feel it. And if you don't, you will not get through it. And it bounces back and forth in many varying degrees. My husband lost his son 2 years ago, and I've dealt with that. I've helped people in mental health, and I've helped the sick because I love to cook, and I've helped many people. And I feel like I am on a mission to help people. And kindness and love goes a long way in mental health and grief.
Yep, I definitely think you're on a mission there. I mean, because obviously your past was no stranger to pain, brought on by a challenged childhood that seemed to really merge into adulthood, but yet still losing a child is unlike any pain that you had ever experienced or imagined before. Can you kind of explain how, I mean, nothing can probably prepare somebody for losing their child.
Nothing can prepare you for losing a child. It's gut wrenching. It either makes you stronger or you go under 50 feet. But the positive side of grief in my book, I've noticed that when I journaled, especially listening to music, that it brought back positive side of memories, because I remember journaling. Joelle played baseball, and she was so darn fast. She was tiny, but she was fast, and she'd run around the bases so fast. And it was just a beautiful memory of her and riding her bicycle. She was so beautiful. And those are beautiful memories, and I have them talked, and I do have beautiful memories. But on anniversaries, yes, losing a child is terrible, and you do go back to memories of sadness, but you do have those beautiful memories, and one day you will reunite, and your faith and your love for the Lord does heal you.
Yes, I mean, you wrote this book to help others with their grief. Many realize grief can manifest itself in many forms. Was that the case for you?
Yes, family dynamics. I have two children, they're adults, and when I lost Joelle, I kept my children, two other children, close to my heart. I always did, and I still do. Family dynamics and losing a child. If you have other children, you keep them close to your heart, and you just you keep the grips on them. And manifesting, yes, I lived a terrible life. I must say I lived an emotional upheaval life. I had several breakdowns. I must say I had a terrible life after Joelle. But you know, my dear Irish mother used to say, you wake up in the morning, you pick yourself up and brush yourself off and go. I held a job at the health department for almost 20 years. I worked with the state. I had 400 accounts, and I kept going. I retired, and I'm an author, and I'm still going to write. And I keep my chin up and I go forward. And there's a lot of people that need to hear this, because especially in mental health, you don't look down. You keep looking forward, and you need to ground yourself, and you need to get support, and you don't need to not talk about it. You need to be around people that love you.
That is excellent. I know your mother would be proud, your daughter would be proud that you have forged ahead and you really made it your mission to help others. I mean, in your book, you offer insights, poetry. I mean, obviously, writing over decades has always been very therapeutic for you. Do you think it'll be therapeutic for people to read some of those words as well?
Yes, my poetry comes to me within minutes. The Holy Spirit touches my heart. I write poetry within 5 minutes. My next book is going to be a little bit lighter. It's going to be poetry within the fall, winter, spring, and summer with pictures. Hopefully, my son will be artistic and draw some things for me. He's a beautiful artist. And it's going to be how I feel towards the seasons of Michigan. And then I'm going to write a mental health book. It's going to be on a lighter mode on how to lift yourself up and get through the stages of grief and mental health.
Interesting. In the book, you offer Bible verses as well. How has your faith enabled you to find peace after grief?
How I found peace through grief, through the stages of grief, modeled after Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, is my faith is because I've always believed in the Lord. Of course, I question it. It's only natural. Bargaining, sadness, denial, and then finally accepting it that Joelle is in heaven. And then my peace is knowing that one day I will be united with her. Of course, it's painful. Of course it is. But when you have faith, whatever your faith is, you're going to be reunited. And the Lord knows you're a child of God and that it's okay.
Interesting. I mean, this book really is a guide for grief. You even include resources throughout. I mean, it's really a collection of all the things that you found and you went through on your journey. Jacqueline, over the years, you have helped many through mental crisis. And now your book is a blessing for those who are dealing with grief. Do you feel the spirit of your daughter lives within those words, really, of this tribute to her?
Of course. Of course I do, Gary. Joelle is the spirit of my soul. She is the divine interception through God that I write this book. Joelle is a spirit, an angel in heaven. I wrote many poems about Joelle, and it is the divine Holy Spirit that this book is written.
Speaking of the poems you've written, before we let you go, why don't you read us a few words and we can share that with the viewers.
Thank you, and I am so honored to be on this show. You don't know what it means to me. I am so blessed. Thank you so much. Journaling your thoughts. Journaling your thoughts, you can see, bring about positive memories. Visualize your creative talents of ABC while listening to music or moving or grooving to music like me. Dancing or playing a string instrument is also keen. Dancing or jumping or what fun that could be. Losing a loved one is never easy. Getting through grief is horrendous. Suffering is tough, yet to be. But I remember Joelle, my love, listening long time ago to music, journaling my way to Lionel Richie, my ballerina girl. To this day, oh my, she's in heaven, dancing on the clouds, waiting for the day for all of us to dance to Lionel Richie. The memories I hold are dear and near, so journal if you will, and bless all of you. And thank you for listening to my story and memoir. And now let me help you with others.
That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing, and we thank you for sharing your story. I'm glad my audience will be able to go out and find that book. It will help them. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is the web page where you can actually order this book that is available in both paperback and hardcover, as well as Kindle. We also have the address on there of her blog where you will learn more about her journey. I mean, whether you're struggling with a loved one's poor health or illness or your own grief journey, this book will show you that you're not alone. Once again, that is Joelle's Cry for Justice, finding the positive side of grief while you are seeking peace. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.